What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Truck Driver Sean YouTube channel. Today we're coming at you with something new, another new company to the channel called Westminster Effects. Now, I first heard about Westminster Effects through Greg over at Angry Tones. He's done a few things for them, and then I'm a huge Skillet fan. Which, those who know me know my sense of humor, the type of music I'm usually leaning towards. You like the Christian hard rock / wannabe metal band? That band? Yes, you'd be correct. Although the last couple releases are missing awesome guitar hooks and have been replaced with a lot of electronica, but hey, that's the way modern music is going, and that's the way they lean. I would like to see them do just another really cool hard rock record. In case they're seeing this, you heard it from me, the guy who shouldn't be listening to your stuff that loves your stuff. Yeah, come on, man. I know you don't want to revisit your past, but let's face it. Those couple records there that were just flawless. Yeah. And by the way, for anybody who wants to say anything bad about Skillet, if you've never seen them live, just take 3 steps to the side and just be right out of the peripheral, all right? No matter what they're playing, they are one of the best live bands on the planet. They bring it every single time. And they kill it. They really do. And they are some of the nicest people on the planet. I've run into them in like weird places at 2 o'clock in the morning, truck stops and stuff. And they're always in a good mood. They're always super nice to everybody they come into contact with that I have seen. And I've literally heard not one story about them not being good people. So, yeah, I like Skillet. So I reached out to Westminster to see if, or I said something on a post, I can't remember, but I wanted to check out their Piper Drive. And there's a lot of buzz about it, so I wanted to check it out just to, see what it does. And obviously it's a small company, so they can't just like send things to everybody. So they send a bunch to Luis Torres, and when Luis gets done, he's going to send me what I have, and I'm going to send him what I have, because Luis and I, we share. When Luis remembers to put stuff in the mail, Luis, if you're watching this, I'm still waiting on my package 6 months later. Come on. Can't tell me the mail's slow at this point, brother. All right. So the one I have today is the Exegete. I think it's how it's pronounced. Couldn't really find any information on this, and I was going to reach out to the builder and be like, hey, can you tell me about this pedal? Because there's nothing on it. And I was like, that takes the fun out of it. But it does in the description say it's a distortion pedal, it's an overdrive, and it can go to fuzz. So what we have here is 3 knobs, 2 switches. We have your basic volume, tone, and gain, and then a switch that's labeled 1, and a switch that's labeled 2. What they do? We're going to find out. I literally have not even plugged this thing in. I don't even know if the pedal works. We're going to find out. So, because I'm a huge fan of Skillet, and we all know that Skillet likes PRS, which, by the way, they're the reason why I play PRS, just so everybody knows. It was like kind of a culmination, like a perfect storm of everything I was listening to. All the guitar players were playing PRSs. That is kind of weird, isn't it? Literally every band I was listening to for like months at the time before I decided I wanted to buy my first PRS were playing PRSs. And I have been a long time fanboy of PRS and pretty much everything that man does. Another one of those people that's just good to everybody. Never heard one story about Paul being mean to one single human being. And that poor guy, I wasn't even thinking. I went to a guitar convention and I listened to music of all genres. And yes, I like my death metal and my grindcore and my deathcore. And I like Devil's Night Out. They were an awesome local band in Maine, and I had my Devil's Night Out shirt on when I met Paul. And the dude stood with me and took a picture, and he was just giggling the whole time. He was like, I can't believe I'm doing this. What a super nice guy. Huge thanks to Bosco France for making sure that happened. Dude is solid. Check his stuff out. Anyhow, I've rambled on long enough. We got the, I usually call it something else, but out of respect for the company, they are not preachy, but they are open about their faith. So I will not be using a lot of my regular rhetoric in this video. Don't worry, I'm still going to be me. I'm still going to say goofy stuff, but we're going to try to keep the swearing to a minimum and no mom jokes that I can think would even be remotely appropriate. So I'm going to have to rest on the laurels of my guitar skills, which means this is probably not going to go well. The jokes, I think, are why people tune in, but hey, you can watch the pedal go round and round while I hook all this madness up. I'm going to use the Shelly Lynn, and I'm going to run that into the Exegete, which is going to go into the KSR Orthos MK-II, which is going into my Arachnid Cabs 2x12, which is mic'd up with a Sennheiser E609. It goes into this camera you are watching right here. That is a Zoom Q8N. Yeah. No computers, no mixers, no nothing. What you hear is what you get. And for the person who pointed it out the other day, dude, have you gained some weight? Yes, I did. I picked up 5 pounds, and it's in my boobs. My moobs. Whatever you want to call them. My man, ta-da-da-da-da-das. You know what I'm saying? All right. I never claimed to be a skinny mini. Cheetos for life. All right. Watch the video. This thing's spinning around. I'll hook up. We'll be back. We'll play some guitar. All right. Be right back in a second. So we got the Exegete all hooked up. Got coffee. And we got no toes. Let's demo the Exegete. Distortion, Fuzz, Overdrive, MK-II. Yeah. All right. So this is what we got with just the KSR. So yeah, it doesn't sound horrible. That's what it sounds like in the room. Alright, that's just the KSR dummied down so we can show what this pedal does. So we have everything at noontime except for the switches. 1 and 2 are down. So we're just going to turn it on and see what happens. what we've got there, I'm going to say this right now sounds like a gated fuzz. So we'll play with the gain and see what happens. Wow, that is like super gated, which is good for a fuzz if you're someone like me that really hates fuzz. Yeah, we all know the shirt, which, you know, thank God I'm not wearing it in this one, right? All right, let's play with that. All right, so it's actually a pretty usable fuzz. So I'm gonna flick the switch, the one switch up and see what happens. I did play with the tone knob as well, if you didn't catch that. See what happens. just noisy. Like, ridiculously noisy. So let's see if we can get rid of some noise. Alright, so we got rid of some noise. Now let's see what happens. As you can tell, we get back into the noisy territory. So we got to turn that volume back, put the tone back in the middle. Now we're going to put the second toggle up. The noise floor just dropped. And the other toggle down. Noise floor picked back up. Let's see what happens. Alright, so I went through, put the toggle up and the other toggle down, played around. She's just a really noisy pedal. And I think it's not geared for like the thrash and metalcore type stuff that I play. But if you want to take your gain down and use it more for like your AOR and your 70s type stuff, or if you're the type that really likes your signals super nasty, it gets nasty. It's got plenty of juice in that thing. And for all I know, there could be trim pots inside, but again, if I don't own something, I do not take it apart. And it could just be a simple trim pot setting that is causing it to be super noisy. But yeah, she gets after it, man. So I'm going to show you again where we're at right now compared to where the KSR is by itself. Alright, as you can tell, noise. I'm going to try something just because you never know. You never know. Damn. Oh crap! I left the room icon. Sorry about that. Alright, so I added a little gain on the KSR and was able to turn this back down, so it's still a little noisy, but not bad. It's definitely, I'm going to say it's not for an already high gain amp. And unfortunately, I don't really have any weak amps in my lot. Everything I have is pretty strong. Just saying, everything's got some chonk to it here in the house. Which is a bummer because I think this thing would shine better if it wasn't a high gain amp. But because it's a high gain amp, we're getting a bunch of noise. So if you're like me and you're a high gain player, I don't really think this pedal is for you. But if you're playing other stuff, this pedal is a rock star. It's got a lot of options as far as tones with those switches. It's kind of genius how those switches work. And it is kind of nice to like have that secret hidden weapon of having a fuzz if you're really going to play like some of the older stoner doom stuff and the AOR and like 70s and 80s arena rock type stuff. That's just a perfect pedal. High gain, I'm gonna have to say no. But again, that's how I'm using it, and it could have trim pots inside, and I don't know because, like I said, I looked on the website and there was zero information. It said click on this for the manual. I clicked on it and it said page didn't exist. So really, I gotta watch some other people's reviews and see what they're playing on it. I'm gonna go with it's more for like the rock and roll and the country and the blues guys than it is the thrash metal guys. But it's a pretty good sound, man. I'm digging the sound. Okay, in a strange turn of events, I don't know what, maybe just start tinkering with it the way I did, but I just had a feeling, because where it's also a fuzz and an overdrive distortion pedal, thinking maybe the volume could be turned down a little bit more and it wouldn't cause so much craziness. I think I was right. I mean, here's the room audio sounds like. Still a little bit of noise, but that's for the amount of hiss that's there. Probably with more tweak. Oh, so what happens? I left the room mic on. I know this seems like I'm dubbing, but sometimes you get onto something like this. It's the first time I've ever used this, so probably with some manipulation under the right circumstances. This could be used for metal. I just haven't quite found the magic position yet. Alright, I'm not a quitter, but I also don't want to sit there and irritate you guys like full on. I'm going to play around with this again. We'll do a part 2. I'm going to hook this into a different... I don't have time to do it today, but I'm going to hook this into a different amp and just see if a different amp kind of gives it a little bit of a different flavor. Because I can kind of see where it's going, but it's really noisy, and I have it dumbed right down to almost nothing. So I got to figure out why it's doing that. And it very well could just be, sometimes you'll hook a piece of gear up, and this is the one thing people don't realize is gear's fun. It is. It's a lot of fun. But not all pieces of gear work awesome with certain pieces of gear. It's just a thing. And some people say it's a kabuki theory. Some people think it's an old wives' tale. But no. Sometimes gear just doesn't work with other gear. That's why there's a lot of gear. Because there's different players, there's different amps, there's different styles, there's all kinds of different stuff going on. And I think this thing, because I'm kind of seeing where it's going, I have a couple ideas I want to try that could really, really, really do some awesome stuff with this thing. So yeah, stay tuned for part 2, I guess. And it's a little bit of a bummer. I really wanted the first pedal I did just to really be insane. But I'm using it, I think, under the wrong context with the wrong amp. So we're going to put this out because it's not horrible. Just I'm trying to do metal on it and it's not agreeing. It plays metal awesome, but the noise is what's bothering me. And I'll reach out to the builder and see if there's a trim pot inside, because it very well, sometimes with today's pedals, you can put a pedal in and be like, oh my God. But inside it could have a trim pot that helps with stuff. And it's got plenty of power. It's got so much power that with it turned all the way down, it's still screeching. So I'm thinking it might have a trim pot that puts the clean gain part pushing forward. And I think that's what's happening, is it's got just too much clean gain. That's different. Distortion and gain are two different things, folks, just in case you didn't know. Which I'm sure you did. I'm not trying to insult anybody. But if one of them is literally throwing the other one out of spiral, it's going to have that kind of noise. Because, just case in point. This is just my my KSR without that. And we're stone cold quiet. So it's not the fact that my amp can't take gain. I mean, that's gain for days. It's a freaking KSR. So again, I'm gonna reach out to the builder and hey dude, I know no one wants a video that comes out that doesn't look awesome, but this is what makes what I do fun. I don't want every pedal to be awesome the first time I use it. I know that sounds really, really bad, but I don't. I want to be able to tinker with stuff and see where it goes and have some good laughs at myself along the way for doing some really dumb stuff. And this could be one of those cases, because you can tell where it's going. It's a phenomenally built pedal and it's done kind of smart, but I'm thinking there's a trim pot in there. But again, I don't want to open it up without talking to the builder first, because I do not own it. And if you're one of those people out there that borrows pedals off people, don't open it without getting express permission from somebody, because once you open them, there's no not opening them. You know what I mean? And if you start messing with stuff, you just really shouldn't without being told what to do. You know? That's just my feeling on it. I do get a little pissy when I just swore. I said I wasn't going to swear. When I get a pedal back and it has trim pots on the inside, and I have them set. I usually set mine very neutral. That way the actual settings on the top of it, you know, your knobs and your switches are actually doing what they're supposed to do. Unless it's like a high gain, like a lot of the RSFX stuff is so powerful, you got to turn that stuff back because it's just ridiculously rugged. And they kind of behave like this, so I'm thinking there's a trim pot in there. If not, then it's definitely not meant for high gain. But we'll do a part 2. Give me a couple weeks so I can reach out to that guy. I want to plug it into a couple other amps, and yes, I'll be playing it without you seeing me do that part, but it sounds really good, and what it's doing, I think it's kind of neat because you have the overdrive, you have the fuzz, and you have the distortion, but it's so noisy that it's just tough to like get a really inspirational tone that makes you want to just like play and have fun because it's making so much noise. So I'm sure we'll get a solution out of it, I promise. I always do. And if I can't get a solution out of it, I tell you, I can't get a solution out of it. So I do apologize to Westminster Effects. This is who I am. This is what I do. And sometimes gear doesn't agree with me. And I don't think it's the fact it's not agreeing with me. I think it's not agreeing with a high gain amp. Or there's a trim pot in there and this thing is full set on, you know, being a gorilla in a zoo full of monkeys. It needs to be turned back a little bit. It needs to be subdued by a dude with a screwdriver. I've got a screwdriver, but I ain't using it until I get permission. Alright. Very cool. Hey, thanks everybody for tuning in. Sorry this got really long because I get my brain fixated on like, I can tell where it's going and I can see where it's going, and then my brain wants to figure out why is this making so much noise? Because you can tell the minute you pick it up and you turn the knobs, it's all made with high quality components. You know, there's nothing cheap on it. And it just is making noise. And it drives me insane. And my OCD takes over sometimes, and I make videos like this that are way longer and I probably shouldn't even put out, but I do because it's honest and it's what happened. So we will have a part 2. Like I said, give me a couple weeks and we'll get on it. I have another pedal, and I think I screwed up and told you guys I didn't get the Piper. I think I have the Piper. It was the 19 some the Seth's pedal. That's the one that I didn't get because Lewis has it. So we'll get the Piper drive done probably first, and because I definitely want to reach out to the builder and see what he has to say. I'm sure it's something I'm doing or I didn't do. Because, like I said, I've seen Greg's videos, and I think Kyle Bull did a video on one of them, and this stuff is just always really, really good. You never see a review where someone's like, this is garbage. Everybody kind of loves them. So, again, yeah, the no editing and thinking it's funny to see somebody trip over themselves that does this stuff quite regularly is just good for viewing and seeing that, you know, this stuff is real, man. You know, these are things, you're not the only one. If you're one of those people that's in your house like, I always have such a hard time. We do too, man. You know, not every piece of gear you hook up and you look like a rock star doing it. Sometimes you get something that challenges you, and if you're like me, if something challenges you, you dig your feet into the ground and you will not be defeated. Especially if it comes from a company that's known for doing really good stuff. You know, it's like when I do pedal demos of like this heavy earth and I get something that doesn't really agree with me, it's like, okay, how am I supposed to be using this? Because I know for a fact that Shea builds amazing stuff. Same thing with KHDK. What am I doing wrong? Yeah, Aris Effects. I've learned a lesson with them. Every single Aris Effects pedal I get now, I open it up to see if there's a trim pot inside every single time because, yeah, violence is his specialty. And sometimes I already have violent amps. They don't need any extra violence. So, yeah. Thank you for tuning in. Again, my chain is me, the Paul Reed Smith S2 Singlecut in Purple Fire Mist. Oh. Going into the Exegete, which is going into my KSR Orthos MK-II, which is going into the Arachnids Cabs Custom 2x12 which is being mic'd up by a Sennheiser E609 going directly into that camera right there for your listening pleasure. All right. Yeah. Wow. Stay tuned for part 2. I promise I'll do a part 2. Because I know a lot of you guys like to jump right on stuff that I review, and I know a lot of you are really thrashy. This is not for thrash as far as I can tell right now. But let me talk to the builder. And like I said, 9 out of 10 times, my idiot self is doing something wrong. I'm not known to be a thought man. But it's a fun pedal, and I'm sure if I figure out what I'm doing wrong, it's going to yield way better results. All right, very cool. Catch you in part 2. Well, actually, I'll catch you in other videos before you see part 2, but if you're the type that's just watching this particular pedal, please watch some other reviews. I'm gonna now. I've never watched a review on it, so it might shed some light, and I might see maybe what I'm doing wrong in somebody else's video. Yeah. I promise we'll be right back on it as soon as I can. All right? Very cool. Catch you in the next video. And huge thanks to Westminster Effects for sending this out. I feel bad for posting it because he's such a nice dude, but I have this whole, if it happens, it's going on the internet type thing. Unfortunately, it doesn't make me a lot of friends, but I always revisit them. If I don't think something's right or something isn't sitting right, I always revisit it. And sometimes it's just not for me. Doesn't mean it's junk. Just means it's not for me and for how I play. But I don't know. I can tell where this one's going, and it seems like it's going to like this really cool place, but the noise is what's killing me. It's not the sounds. Like, they sound great, but it's the noise. I don't like noise. I'm like the noise gate king. And believe it or not, I got a noise gate on. It was making all that with a noise gate on. And y'all know I don't use noise gates that ain't no good. So, yeah. Oh, I got a runny nose. Okay. Get out of here. I've wasted enough of your time. Stay tuned for part 2. All right. Ciao for now.